I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because you have to play the game as a thinker when you're playing him. You have to get inside his mind.
Whoa, hold on a second, man. Former teammate of Michael Jordan, James Worthy, said he'd rather guard Michael Jordan? Uh-oh. So what's happening, YouTube? Welcome to ITSJONJONTV. And on this video, I have another reaction video on the channel, man. Today, we will be reacting to Making the Case for Larry Bird. And my last reaction video, man, I actually did it with my big brother, man. Shout out to my big brother, Nonsensical225. I will have his stuff in the description below, man. He does Twitch, he does TikTok, he does all that stuff, man. So show my brother some support. But we reacted to Larry Bird Ultimate Mixtape, man. I'm gonna go ahead and put that video at the top right, man. The video went crazy. As far as engagement goes, man, it's probably one of the, really, I'm saying probably, but it is the most engagement I've ever seen on a video, man. Y'all showed a lot of love. Y'all made a lot of recommendations, man. And that's what takes me to this point today where I'm gonna be reacting to this video, man, making the case for Larry Bird. Because for me, man, Larry Bird, he is in my top 5.
Oh, that's a very nice gesture. What were you saying? Okay.
Top 6. I actually had to move him over Bill Russell, man. I had Bill Russell at 6 originally, so I got Larry Bird at 6. I can't quite put Larry over Kobe, Magic, Kareem, all those guys, man. But hey, that's why we're watching this video, man. Maybe my opinion might change because Clayton Crowley is making the case for Larry Bird for being the GOAT, period. The GOAT, period. So anyway, man, not gonna waste too much more of your time, man. Let's go ahead, man, get into this reaction video, man. All right, man, let's check it out.
Basketball is special. The size of the court and the lack of pads or helmets give fans the most intimate experience of a team sport that exists. And because of the different styles that basketball allows for, players develop their own distinct identities and signature styles through their creativity, flair, and athleticism. And although no player succeeds alone, the scoring volume and two-way nature of the sport give individual stars a nearly unprecedented amount of control over the flow and outcome of a game. For this reason, players are constantly compared to their peers and to the legends of the past in order to answer the most hotly contested question in the sport: who's the greatest to ever do it? For many, the question is redundant. They believe in only one right answer, their answer. Others might have their own personal stance, but acknowledge one or two alternatives. But I believe that there's much more nuance to the question of greatness and more answers to it than you might think. By my count, there are 8 players in NBA history that have a substantial claim as the GOAT. It's a subjective thing though. I can't give you a definitive answer. All I can do is make the argument. So today, I'll be making the case for Larry Bird as the greatest basketball player of all time.
All right, man. So a lot was said in the intro, man. By the way, great intro by Clayton Crowley, man. Like I said, I'm gonna have to link to this video down in the description below. But he said he has 8 players that has a legitimate argument, man. So I wonder who those 8 players are. I've seen Tim Duncan up there. I personally have Tim Duncan up there too in my top 8 personally, man. I think he is probably the most disrespected superstar in NBA history, man. Of course, you got Larry Bird. Somebody make the case for Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Kareem, Magic, LeBron, Mike. I think some people might leave Kobe out. For me, man, personally, my personal list, I got to have Kobe up there because Kobe is by far my favorite player of all time. He's a 5-time champion. But, you know, it is very interesting to see who are the other 7 players that he's going to be making a case for, man. So, like I said, this is just number 1. I had 5 people recommend this video to me, man. Well, at least 5 people, probably way more now with all the comments that's rolling in. But it's very interesting to see, man. Like I said, Bird's in my top, 6. But who's the other 7? I don't know. But let's go ahead and get back to the video.
When it comes to basketball, Larry Bird is the smartest, clutchest player to ever play the game. Now, if you don't think that Larry Bird is the greatest basketball player of all time, you probably hate that I just said that. Those are the kind of talking head sport cliches that surely impact the game but are impossible to empirically measure. Normally, I'd agree with you, but I think that when you talk about Larry Bird, you see those intangibles become real, palpable results. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't believe it. When Larry Bird was drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1978, the NBA needed saving. Attendance was in the toilet, the league had few marketable stars, cocaine addiction had several players in its grasp, and most damning of all, playoff games were being tape delayed. Playoff games at the highest level of basketball were being put in the back seat for black and white movies and network reruns. But rather than join the Celtics after being taken third overall, Larry Bird decided to return for his final year at Indiana State, a decision that would prove to be one of the most important in the history of the sport.
Easily.
Bird's final year saw the Sycamores tear through college basketball, going 33-0 before the national championship game. Bird, already claimed by the NBA's most historic and prestigious franchise, had established himself as the generational talent who would inherit the mantle of pro basketball. Indiana State's opponent in the national championship was Michigan State, captained by the immortal Earvin Magic Johnson. The Sycamores lost the championship to the more...
First of all, shout out to Magic Johnson. Shout out to Magic Johnson, man. One of my favorite players of all time, man. For those of y'all who don't know, man, Larry Bird, whenever he opted to go back to Indiana State, man, he was actually taken number 6 by the Boston Celtics, man. In 1978 it was, NBA draft. And he elected not to go straight to the Celtics, but stay one more year. And as Clayton Crowley said, man, that impacted basketball because it made the game popular. That matchup against Bird and Earvin Magic Johnson in that NCAA championship, man, I think it changed basketball for all of eternity, man. That was the game, and I think that is still probably the most popular sporting event in TV history. Still to this day, man. I mean, that was over, 45 years ago, man, that game took place, man. And it's still the most popular game to ever take place. You know, that game had great implications. And of course, man, that's why I got to say, like, Bird and Magic saved the league. But Bird's decision put them in that position to save the league, man. So anyway, man, back to the video, man. I'm going to try not to pause it too much.
Talented Spartans in the highest rated game in the history of basketball at any level still to this day. The stage had been set.
First of all, I know a little bit about basketball. Man just said it himself. Just saying, you know what I'm saying?
Next decade of basketball would be defined by the rivalry between the white hick from French Lick and his Boston Celtics and the black Magic and his Showtime Lakers. The rivalry between Bird and Johnson is entwined into the fabric of the NBA and is worthy of 100 documentaries. In this video, though, we're going to be looking at Bird's claim of supremacy. Here's Bird's basketball resume. His 3 championships come with perhaps the highest collective degree of difficulty of any player's championships. His 3 MVPs came consecutively, making him only the 3rd player to accomplish the feat, along with Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain.
Jokic got robbed. Jokic should have been on that list too, man. I'm just saying, man. I made a video on this before. When they gave it to Embiid, the sympathy MVP, I mean, he played great that year, but he wasn't better than Jokic. Jokic should have been on this list. Just saying. Y'all hold him. But anyway, back to the video.
2 Finals MVPs are misleading. He was absolutely the best player on the 81 Celtics, but he was only a sophomore, and his 15 points per game in the finals gave the media an excuse to exact a little vengeance on a legendarily difficult interview. His All-Star and first-team selections also come with the caveat that Bird only played for 13 seasons and missed all but 6 games of the 89 season following surgeries on both feet. I can hear you already. A 13-year career, and this guy is supposed to be the GOAT? What color of paint are you huffing, Clayton? Green, obviously. But hear me out. Yeah, Bird's career lasted about 2/3 as long as it should have. But what he did in that time was so impressive and so substantial that every basketball fan acknowledges that he's in the conversation as the greatest ever. Doesn't it matter that those 13 years saved professional basketball, delivered a disproportionate amount of memorable moments, defined the golden age of the league, and produced a career by which all other forwards, before or since, are measured? Bird squeezed every drop of talent out in those 13 years and made it seem more like 30. He didn't just leave his fingerprints on the game. He left so much of his DNA in the sport that it needed a cigarette afterwards. There's something to be said about the candle that lasts half as long but burns twice as bright. Those 3 MVP years stack up with any other run.
All right, man, let's go ahead and look at these stats, man. Let's see. Oh, I'm in the way, man. So let's see, 26.2 points per game, 6.7 assists per game, 10 rebounds. So he averaged a double-double during that span, man. It's crazy, bro. This dude's statistics, he shot, 50, 40, 90. You know, let's round up that 39 to 40 for 3-point percentage. 50, 40, 90. He is the founding father of the 50, 40, 90 club. Great statistics. Jeez, man. Shout out to Larry Bird.
Run by any other player. I will put an A+ Larry Bird season up against anyone's. What does an A+ Larry Bird season look like? A full box score, a blowout win, a nearly undefeated record at home, and a play style that could only be described one way: white. Larry Bird isn't just a white basketball player, he's the white basketball player. To describe Larry Bird's game is to thumb through the Hoops dictionary and pick out every cliche about white players. Unathletic, great shooter, good fundamentals, the whole thing. The archetype of a white basketball player is Larry Bird, with one exception. He had an unparalleled understanding of the game of basketball, both as a physical contest and as a mental competition. His basketball IQ infected everything he did and catapulted his career into legend. Bird was a complete player. Jerry West.
Hey man, I'm sorry, bro. Hey, with him making this statement right here, man, reminded me of this Isaiah Thomas story, man. And depending on how long this video is, I might insert the clip in the video, man. But Isaiah Thomas was talking about a time where Larry Bird was like, hey man, like, who you got guarding me today? And then Isaiah Thomas said, we're gonna put this guy on you. The guy just happened to be a white guy. And and as per Isaiah Thomas, he said, Larry Bird said, man, listen, bro, put somebody black on me, man. It's disrespectful for you to put somebody as white on me. Put somebody black on me. I don't know how true this is or not, man. Like I said, it's Isaiah Thomas' story, man. But with him making that comment, he's saying he is the white guy, man. Kind of made me think of that story by Isaiah Thomas, man. But, on my list, as far as like ethnicities go, I mean, he is the best white player on my list. Just saying, with how high he ranks on the list. So, great point. But back to the video, man.
Called him nearly as perfect as you can get. He was the league's first great marksman. He could contort his body to shoot from anywhere on the court, regardless of the level of defense. He pioneered the art of the dagger 3 and was the founding member of the 50-40-90 club. At 6'9", Bird's understanding of angles and coordination led to a higher rebounding average than Patrick Ewing, and it made him an impressively adept finisher in his younger years. 86, Bird dropped 47 points on the Blazers, playing the majority of the game left-handed. His lack of quick lateral movement meant that Bird didn't do much when it came to slapping the floor and picking up the opposing point guard, but his size and omniscience gave him the ability to body similarly sized players, read defenses like a free safety, and pick off passing lanes with ease. His passing was transcendent, and I'll highlight it later. And of course you need to know that Larry Bird was a tough effort. He had a superhuman motor and dove for loose balls like a beagle at the park. He was a willing participant in his share of fights, often precipitated by his league-renowned trash talk.
Larry Bird told Robert Reedy the other day that he should have stayed in preaching. He had 50 points.
I was guarding in my rookie year. He looked at me and he goes, "You can't stop me." And I looked at him and I said, "Gosh, boy, you're so confident." He proceeded to score like 10 straight points on me. The coach took me out the game. He walks by and he's laughing at me.
He was a basketball genius. He'd be a step ahead, a thought ahead, play the game like a chess game.
I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because you have to play the game as a thinker when you're playing him. You have to get inside his mind.
Whoa, hold on a second, man. Former teammate of Michael Jordan, James Worthy, said he would rather guard Michael Jordan? Uh-oh. Hey, man, dang, that's a bomb right there. So, back to the video, man.
If you put all of us in a room, Magic, Jordan, myself, and Bird probably be the guy who walks out of the room at the end of the day.
Did you know?
Hold up, man. Hey, bro. Hey, I don't know. That's another one. Oh my goodness. Put all the guys in the room, man. Larry Bird gonna be the guy walking out. What are you saying, Isaiah? What are you insinuating here? Is Larry Bird the toughest player in NBA history? Is Larry Bird the smartest player in NBA history? I don't know, man. Choo. And Isaiah Thomas, man, that's a guy that holds Larry Bird in high regard, has a lot of respect for him. But, man, what are you insinuating, Isaiah Thomas? I would love to know the context. But anyway, man, great video so far, man. Back to the video.
Notice something during those testimonies? Those are some of the best basketball players of all time, and they all sing Bird's praises like they were former assassins who had to go toe-to-toe with John Wick, and they're just happy to be alive. Bird excelled during one of the most talent-rich periods in league history. The abridged list of his basketball rivals goes like this: Dr. J and Moses Malone on the Philadelphia 76ers, Sidney Moncrief on the Milwaukee Bucks, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer and the Bad Boy Pistons, Dominique Wilkins on the Atlanta Hawks, Bernard King on the New York Knicks, Michael Jordan on the Chicago Bulls, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson on the Houston Rockets, and of course, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, there's no point avoiding it any
Ooh, that's some tough squads in the East, man. The East was loaded. Jeez Louise.
longer. We have to look at Magic versus Larry. If you have Magic over Larry, it's because he has 5 rings to Larry's 3, had a peak that lasted about 2 or 3 years longer than Larry's, and had a 2-1 record against Bird Celtics in the finals. Perfectly legitimate, completely respectable arguments. But in the interest of making Bird's case, allow me to retort. For nearly the entire decade of the 1980s, the Eastern Conference was irrefutably the more competitive conference between the two. Considering the competition, for Bird to have made 5 finals appearances is just as impressive as Magic's 9. As for the head-to-head record responsible for...
Those numbers don't add up, Clayton. But, I mean, given all the teams they just listed in the Eastern Conference, man. And then also, he left out the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. The Cavs, did he mention them? I don't know. I might have missed it. But the Cavs was tough. Like, Michael Jordan, like, barely scraped by those Cavs teams in the 80s, man. So they need some respect. Of course, Sidney Moncrief, the Bucks, tough team. Dominique Wilkins and the Hawks, tough teams, where the Hawks almost eliminated the Boston Celtics behind Nick's high-scoring performances. You know, you still got Michael Jordan, which he was kind of like a one-man show back then. But Philadelphia 76ers, man, all of the Hall of Famers they had on that squad, Jones, Cheeks, Malone, Irving, Dawkins, Barkley. They had a lot of all-stars on the 76ers teams in the 80s also. So, I mean, Larry Bird definitely had a tougher road to get to those NBA Finals. I could agree with that. In the Western Conference in the 80s, I mean, all you really had really a competitive-wise is the Houston Rockets. I can't think of anybody else in the West that could have dethroned the Lakers, man. So, I don't know. Me got me thinking, Clayton. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. Shoo. Back to the video, man.
For Magic's 2 extra titles, he had more help. Seriously, the Celtics' Big 3 and the Lakers' Big 3 get compared all the time historically as if they were of equal caliber, but weren't Magic's accomplices just a step above Bird's? No disrespect at all to Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, but Kareem was the alpha dog on the 71 Bucks and was the best player for at least 2 of the Lakers' 5 titles. James Worthy
and Kareem is, in my opinion, the 3rd greatest player to ever play. The best player in the 70s era, by far. Arguably one of the greatest scorers to ever play. LeBron took his record recently, but Kareem is definitely, I guess, underrated, in my opinion, man, in many cases.
Worthy was the #1 pick out of UNC after winning a championship as the best player on a team that had Michael Jordan on it. Throw in the fact that Magic got to be coached by Pat Riley, one of the most brilliant minds in basketball history, and you could say that the Magic-Bird argument comes down to one thing: luck. So if their careers come down to luck, the question just becomes who you would rather take. Now, I'm not making this video to tell you why you shouldn't take Magic. I'm making this video to tell you why you should take Bird. Not just over Magic, but over everybody. One thing that helps him is the fact that his play would translate perfectly into the league today. A 6'9" sharpshooting forward with eyes in the back of his head who averaged double-digit rebounds in an era against Moses and Lambeer. He'd gobble up boards as a power forward. He'd be an offensive mismatch against everybody as a small ball center, and his off-ball skills and passing would pair perfectly with the flow of today's game. Add in his competitive mania and 3 generations worth of medical advancements, and we're talking about a player who could have stuck around so long they would have had to rename the league. As you've been watching these clips of Bird, I would hope that you would notice something. He always knows where everybody is. Watching Bird play basketball is like watching those monsters from A Quiet Place that know where you are if you make any noise at all. Bird had a level of clairvoyance that bordered on the unnatural. In '85, he ended up 1 steal away from a quadruple-double after playing just the first 3 quarters. His passing was famously infectious and helped transform the Celtics of the '80s into an ideal that basketball teams at all levels are still shown tape of. They moved the ball with precision and intent, always looking for better shots and determined to get the entire team involved in the effort. That fact is almost entirely attributable to Bird and his wizardry with the ball. This acumen also helped Bird become the only player with a GOAT claim to transition successfully into other basketball roles after his playing career. In his 3 years as the head coach of the Pacers, Bird won a Coach of the Year award, coached the Pacers to their first and only finals appearance, and gave Michael Jordan as much trouble as he'd ever gotten in his career in the '98 Eastern Conference Finals. After moving into a front office role for Indiana, he won Executive of the Year in 2012, becoming the only person to have an MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year award. On the court or off of it, inside and out, Larry...
Not gonna lie, man, Mike can't say all that. Whew, Mike can't say all that. Greatest individual player in NBA history, but off the court, you know, in the front office or the sidelines, man, Mike never coached. He was a terrible executive. Not gonna lie, no disrespect, man, but the Bobcats, the Hornets, they sucked. Okay. I was trying to figure out that's the best way I could put it. So just the fact that Larry Bird have all these accomplishments, spectacular coach, those Indiana Pacer teams, late 90s, early 2000s, tough. Always at the top of the conference, you know, so kudos to him for being a great head coach, executive, one of the greatest executives in NBA history by far, you know, so hey, that's a point for Larry Bird there. I mean, you don't have no rebuttal for me there at all.
Larry Bird sees basketball as only he can. That intelligence also lent itself to Bird's defining skill, making the big plays. Remember, NBA players get paid to win games. James Harden is getting paid nearly $40 million this year because he's supposed to help the...
And before I go too far, man, I did mention Bobcats, Hornets with Michael Jordan. Freaking Wizards. Oh, the Wizards. Yuck. I knew y'all was about to attack me in the comments for that.
Rockets win games. Victory can be achieved in a lot of ways, and the win column doesn't care how it happens. As Mark Sinclair once said,
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Or a mile.
Winning's winning.
That's a fact.
But when your team is down 1 in a crucial playoff game with 8 seconds left, and you need to hit a shot to stay in the series and keep your season alive, that's where players really separate themselves and earn their money. Love it or hate it, it's the players that come through in the big moments that live forever in our memories.
Yes.
Some players, for whatever reason, were never able to do it consistently. Some players were truly outstanding at it. Larry Bird was the best at it. I'm not going to give you the stats about his field goal shooting under 2 minutes with a score that's this close, or tell you who has the most buzzer beaters, or any of that.
Take that.
I need that, Clayton. I do. Women lie, men lie, numbers don't, brother. I need it.
Data.
I'm just going to show you clutch moments in clutch situations. 1985 against the Blazers. Bird drops 48 points, including this. Down 1 with 2 seconds left.
Inbound pass, the double team in Bird. Larry, fake, fall away. Hits it!
Tough, I ain't gonna lie.
1985 against the Hawks. Bird sets the Celtics scoring record with 60 points with shots like these.
They open the right side. Bird the follow away. Throws it again. That's the best shooting I've ever seen.
1986 against the Rockets. Not all of Bird's clutch moments were singular. The bigger the moment, the bigger his performance. In Game 6 of the 1986 NBA Finals, Bird clinches the championship with a triple-double in what he calls the best game he ever played.
2 seconds on the shot clock. Bird wants a 3 out of it. He gets it.
1987 against the Washington Bullets. Bird hits one shot to tie it before it's waved off because of a timeout. Hits another shot to tie it up for real.
Crowd is standing up. It goes now to Bird. Bird goes up top.
And then in double overtime, down 1, he does this.
It's going to go to Bird. He's got a shot. Get it! It is got it. It's a 3-point field goal. And that's that. It's all over.
For 3 years, from 1986 to 1988, the three-point contest knew no other champion but Larry Bird.
He's still got to drop one here quickly. 14. This is a tie for the money. Yo!
1987 Eastern Conference Finals, Game 5. Tied at 2 games apiece against the Bad Boy Pistons, this enormous game would put the winner 1 game away from the NBA Finals. The Pistons are up 1 with seconds remaining. The ball goes out of bounds off the Celtics. Isaiah Thomas just needs to inbound the ball to win the game.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ. Lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the inside.
Not gonna lie, man, one of the greatest plays or sequences in sports history, man. Easily, I mean, one of the most memorable, easily, man.
There are truly too many big games and big moments for me to go through without this ending up as a documentary. But that all leads me to this, what I really want to talk about. 1987, NBA Finals, Game 4 against the Lakers. LA is up 2-1, and the Celtics need to win to tie the series and stay alive. Bird hits a 3 with 12 seconds left to go up by 2.
Bird goes for 3.
Kareem comes down and gets fouled with 8 seconds left. He makes the first, but misses the second. LA ends up with the ball with 7 seconds left, down 1 point.
Say, you already know what time it is, man. If you're a Lakers fan, you already know what time it is.
Magic hits this,
The hook
baby
shot.
sky hook.
Yes, sir.
2 seconds left, down 1.
Johnson on the inbound. Bird fires it.
What do you think happens?
Misses. Come
I
on,
bet
man,
it
know
wasn't
this.
that. When I paused the tape and the ball was hanging in the air, you thought it was going in. Bird thought it was going in. Magic thought it was going in. I've seen this game before.
Listen, man, the only reason why I knew it wasn't going in, man, because I'm a Lakers fan, man. I know what that shot did for us, okay? Lakers fans, okay? Just saying. I know, Clayton. I already knew what was about to happen. I knew what the outcome was.
And I still think it's going to go in. But it didn't.
It didn't.
Pat Riley said it himself. We got lucky. And that, a missed shot in the NBA Finals is why he's the clutchest. Because after he makes the big plays, has the big games, hits the big shots, time and time again, you expect him to hit every shot, to win every game. And in those fleeting moments when he doesn't, when he looks like a mere human, when he looks like everyone else who tries to do what he does, you just can't believe it. That's what Larry Bird did. He made the big plays so often, you thought he was going to make them every time.
Yep.
He helped turn basketball into a global phenomenon, paving the way for every Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or LeBron James who comes through our lives. He played basketball in its purest form and captained a team that is consistently ranked among the greatest of all time. He has the second highest win percentage in the history of the NBA, behind Magic by less than 0.5%, about 10 games. He was the complete package, a player with no holes in his game whatsoever. They called him Basketball Jesus. He didn't get that name without doing something extraordinary. He saved basketball, and he did it by playing it better than anyone else. Here's Magic at Bird's retirement in 1993.
Larry Bird said that there will be another Larry Bird one day. And Larry, there will never, ever, ever be another Larry Bird. To the greatest basketball player ever, but more important, a friend forever.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. This was a really fun video to make, and I'm going to continue to make more of them, so please feel free to subscribe.
Man.
And while you're at it, go ahead and check out
man. Y'all go ahead and check out Clayton Crowley, man. This dude is a genius, man. I love his videos, man. I actually watched this video on Pistol Pete Maravich, Made Basketball Fun. Terrific video, man. Great breakdown of athletes. I need to find out who these other guys are. So I see Kareem, LeBron, Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Will Chamberlain. Oh, no Kobe Bryant. Wow. I think this is the Making the Case series. So Tim, Larry, Magic, Wilt. Man, let me know in the comments if y'all want me to watch some of these other videos, man. I'm definitely going to watch Making the Case for LeBron. Easily Making the Case for, I mean, for me, you don't need to make the case for Michael, but, you know, I checked that out. Magic, man. But anyway, man, I appreciate y'all watching, man. What's the verdict? Where do I have Larry Bird after that video? Did it move me? Did it change his position on my list? I got to hold him at number 6. And I ain't gonna lie, man. The only thing that could probably change my mind is maybe just making the case on Bill Russell, because I think Larry Bird is the greatest Celtic to ever play. But maybe that video might change my mind. But as far as Larry Bird going up on my list, like I said, man, Kobe Bryant's in my top 5, bro. Hate it or love it, but he's in my top 5. At number 5, actually, man. So, but anyway, man, I appreciate y'all recommending this video, man. I'm only doing reactions from now on, man, for videos that is recommended. I'm not just gonna decide on my own unless it's something that's crazy that's going on. A lot of people talking about it, but you know, you guys decide what we watch on this channel, man. Simple and plain, man. So I got one more thing that's gonna be a series. Me and my brother, man, recommended Ben Wallace, man. So we're gonna get into that, because I think that's gonna be a crazy video, man, off the rip, man. But anyway, man, I appreciate y'all sitting through this, man. A little bit on the longer end, I say, yeah, a little bit over 30 minutes, man. But I appreciate you watching, man. Check out the next one. Love you. Peace.